Have you ever had the feeling that you carry something different inside you? As if life is not just what everyone sees, but a field full of hidden messages, omens, and signs from the universe. Well, this sensation can be more than intuition, it can be a calling. A clear sign that your soul has been chosen for something much bigger than it seems. The most curious thing is that this does not come with an instruction manual. No one warns you that being among the 1% who awaken spiritually will leave you, at first, confused, lonely, even questioning your own sanity. But guess what? This is the beginning. Because there are brands that don't see themselves in the mirror, but that are vibrating strongly in those who were born to transform the world. And these marks, when recognized, change everything. The way you see yourself, how you position yourself, how you deal with your spiritual trials, and how you see your spiritual mission. It doesn't matter if the world doesn't understand you yet, the important thing is that you understand yourself. From the moment you identify one of these 7 brands, the journey begins that few have the courage to take. But beware, this video is not for those who want ready-made answers. It is for those who are willing to look inside and assume their energetic sensitivity as a strength, not weakness. Get ready to recognize yourself in details that you may have ignored all your life, hitherto. If, throughout the video, something touches your soul, comment below the number 7, because this may be exactly the sign you were waiting for. There are people who are born with a strange feeling of being out of place, as if they had parachuted into a world they don't understand very well. It seems that everything around her walks at a different pace, while inside her pulsates a restlessness that is difficult to explain. This feeling of not belonging, which many try to stifle, may be the first indication of a spiritual awakening. Chosen souls almost always begin their journey feeling out of place, like rare pieces in an ordinary puzzle. It is as if the soul knows that it has a greater spiritual mission, even without knowing what it is yet. This different spiritual vibration is what begins to attract the signals of the universe. It is curious how, from an early age, these people question the meaning of things. They are not satisfied with ready-made answers, nor do they adapt easily to superficial environments. This discomfort is not a defect, it is energetic sensitivity. It's like having a spiritual antenna picking up frequencies that most people can't hear yet. And this explains why crowds get tired, parties seem empty, and shallow conversations are boring. What many call weirdness is actually a soul in tune with something much bigger. This feeling of being outside the conventional axis often generates existential crises. But it is precisely these crises that open space for self-knowledge. When the person begins to question themselves, they enter fertile ground to listen to their intuition. And then the first spiritual symptoms arise, vivid dreams, forebodings, synchronicities, like seeing the same time constantly. It's not madness, it's subtle communication from the universe saying, "Hey, you're awakening." If you've ever felt it, understand, it's a privilege, not a punishment. Of course, the path is not comfortable at first. Because when you don't fit in, you try to mold yourself, you try to fit into places that are too tight for the size of your soul. And that hurts. But the truth is that this discomfort is what awakens the search for life purpose. That insistent question, "Why am I here?" starts to echo at random times of the day. And when that happens, there is no turning back. The spiritual path begins to unfold in a silent but transformative way. Many try to ignore this call, trying to live like everyone else. But it always comes back, stronger, more intense. Until you can't run away anymore. And then a new chapter begins, the moment when the person realizes that their energetic sensitivity is not weakness, but a sign that they have been chosen. A rare soul, with a mission that goes beyond the visible. That's when she starts to notice subtle signs, which few can see. There are those who walk around carrying marks that the eyes do not see, but that the soul feels from afar. People who, even in silence, radiate a different spiritual energy. They don't need to say they're special, the universe takes care of signaling. They are those that have a marked energetic sensitivity, which capture the climate of an environment with a simple glance. A slight change in tone, a crossed word, and that's it, they already feel everything. This hyperperception is not a burden, it is the signature of chosen souls. These beings carry a keen intuition that defies logic. They know when something is wrong, even without evidence. They avoid people, places, and situations only because they feel like it's not meant to go. This is not paranoia, it is an inner guide, it is the spiritual compass that points the spiritual path even before the signs of the universe appear. It is not uncommon for them to escape situations that could have been great spiritual trials by relying on these instincts. Intuition, here, is not magic, it is ancestral wisdom pulsing strongly. Another invisible trait is inner restlessness. A constant feeling that there is something more to be experienced, something beyond what the eye can see. Even when they have stability, these people feel that they are being called to something bigger. They have a spiritual mission, and even if they don't know exactly what it is, that mission begins to whisper in their souls. They are souls who are not satisfied with routine, because they were made to transform realities, starting with their own. And it is this whisper that moves them to seek, study, meditate, reconnect. They also carry an unusual empathy. They suffer for the other as if it were for themselves, and so they end up being natural counselors. It is common for strangers to open up to them, as if they knew that there is shelter there. This connection is no coincidence, it is spiritual sensitivity in action. The whole world seems to seek these souls when it is in pain. And they, even tired, surrender. But they do not always realize that this also requires spiritual protection. Behind this gift, there is a weight. Because carrying light also attracts shadows. And then comes the challenge, to discern what is yours and what is the other's. Learn to keep one's own spiritual vibration high without drowning in the pain of others. This is a training that comes with time. And as this chosen soul comes to understand its own strength, it begins to notice increasingly clear spiritual signs. Small synchronicities, omens, and numbers that insist on repeating themselves. Some signs are so discreet that they go unnoticed by most, but for those who are in tune with the universe, every detail has a message. Chosen souls live surrounded by small clues that indicate the spiritual path, as if the universe spoke in code. Seeing equal hours frequently, 11:11, 22:22, is not mere chance, it is synchronicity. And when this is repeated too much, it is as if the universe says, "You are aligned, keep going." But only 1% actually understand this invisible language. And when he understands, the journey changes levels. Dreams also carry messages. Not those messy dreams of everyday life, but the vivid ones, with clear symbols, meetings with people who have already departed, and even scenarios that seem like prophecies. These experiences are not delusions, they are manifestations of the spiritual energy that tries to guide you. Those who awaken spiritually learn to respect what they dream. Keeping a dream notebook at your bedside can be a good exercise in self-knowledge and reading the signs of the universe. To write down, to interpret and to reflect, this is a simple but powerful ritual. In addition, that feeling of, "I've lived this," the famous déjà vu, is another spiritual message. These moments are like adjustments in the matrix of reality. They remind us that there is something greater coordinating everything. Another subtle sign is gut feelings. You know that feeling that something is going to happen, and it does. It is intuition blowing warnings before reason notices. Ignoring this is like covering your ears when the universe screams. Listening, on the other hand, is aligning with your spiritual mission. And there are also unlikely encounters, people who come out of nowhere and change everything. They show up at a specific time, say something you needed to hear, or help you turn the key. These people are spiritual instruments, pieces sent to move you on the board of life. Recognizing these encounters as signs is part of spiritual awakening. And sometimes, even objects, songs, or random phrases carry messages that touch exactly the right spot. Coincidence? Anyone who has woken up knows that there is no such thing. Realizing all this requires energetic sensitivity and courage to get out of autopilot. Most of them are too busy to notice what's right in front of their eyes. But the 1%, those who awaken, begin to see meaning in what was once invisible. They begin to notice patterns, feel vibrations, follow presentiments. And when this becomes constant, comes a challenging but necessary phase, isolation. Not for punishment, but for preparation. The beginning of the spiritual path is almost always silent, lonely and, for many, even painful. It's as if the universe pulled the soul aside and said, "Now it's just you and me." This isolation, which many interpret as rejection or bad luck, is actually a preparation. Self-knowledge does not flourish in the midst of noise. He needs silence, introspection, space to feel. It is in the removal of distractions that the energetic sensitivity begins to expand. And it is in this phase that spiritual awakening really gains depth. Many people despair at this stage because old friends disappear, the subjects no longer make sense, and loneliness hits hard. But that's part of it. It's like changing your skin, it hurts, but it's necessary for something bigger to be born. Chosen souls need this time to heal wounds, review beliefs, and understand who they are outside of social masks. Meditating, writing, walking alone, observing nature, all of these help you reconnect with spiritual energy. These are simple practices, but transformative, if done with presence. This isolation, although difficult, is fertile. It is there that the signs of the universe become most evident. Without distractions, the inner gaze opens up and begins to capture synchronicities, forebodings, and insights more clearly. It's like tuning into a frequency that was once full of interference. And then, intuition, which was once a shy whisper, starts to speak loudly. The spiritual mission, until then a mystery, begins to draw contours. But only if the person has the courage to stay in this cocoon for a while. It is also during this period that spiritual trials arise. Old pains come to the surface, negative patterns ask for healing, and inner shadows ask for attention. It is a deep dive, where the light only appears when the soul accepts to face the darkness. Therefore, it is important to remember, it is not punishment, it is stoning. The universe does not remove people and situations by chance, it is creating space for the new. And the more a person surrenders to the process, the more their spiritual vibration rises. Few understand the value of this silence, but those who remain in it long enough, come out transformed. And when the soul is ready, the universe begins to move in an amazing way. People reappear, new ones emerge, and everything begins to line up. But for that, you must have crossed the desert. And when it finally crosses, something changes. An inner force awakens. And along with it comes trust in the most powerful voice there is, intuition. Intuition is that silent radar that dwells within the chosen souls. She doesn't shout, she doesn't make a fuss, but when she speaks, those who have learned to listen never doubt again. It's as if the universe speaks directly to you, without needing words. This direct connection to spiritual energy is one of the greatest gifts of spiritual awakening. But like any valuable gift, it requires responsibility. Because ignoring intuition can be costly, and following it can save you from great spiritual trials. How many times does the person feel that something is not right, but it goes anyway? And then he regrets it. That strange feeling, that butterflies in the stomach, that inner voice saying, "It won't." Most ignore it because they have been taught to rationalize everything. But those who awaken spiritually learn to honor that voice. And more, learn to train it. How? Meditating daily, silencing the noise of the mind, connecting with your spiritual vibration. It is in these moments that intuition gains strength. Intuition is not only about avoiding evil, it also points you in the right direction. Sometimes, a sudden idea comes out of nowhere. A new place draws attention. A person appears at the exact right moment. This is not luck, it is synchronicity. And when the person begins to act on these signs from the universe, life aligns in an almost magical way. This is when the purpose of life begins to take shape. And everything that was once a doubt becomes direction. But for that, it is necessary to trust more in feeling than in thinking. Of course, trusting intuition isn't always easy. It defies logic, seems risky, and often goes against what everyone else says. But that's precisely why it's so powerful. Awakened souls did not come to follow the crowd, they came to make way. And the compass of this journey is internal. Instead of seeking external approval, they are guided by subtle signals. And the more they practice, the more their energetic sensitivity increases. Intuition becomes a muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. This silent force, when respected, protects, guides and transforms. And often, she's the only support when everything seems uncertain. Intuition is the link between the visible and the invisible world, between the now and what is yet to be. And when you learn to walk with it, something begins to change in the way others perceive you. Some move closer, others move away. And this all has to do with your vibration. Because when you change on the inside, your energy changes on the outside. There is a silent law in the universe: everything vibrates, everything attracts or repels. And with awakened souls, this is even more intense. When one raises one's spiritual vibration, one automatically begins to function as a mirror. Some people feel inspired, others feel exposed. And then the extremes arise: either you attract strongly, or you bother deeply. There is no middle ground. This happens because your spiritual energy touches layers that logic does not reach. You know that feeling that, without doing anything, you attract attention, good or bad. It's your energy speaking before you open your mouth. The energetic sensitivity of the awakened ones does not go unnoticed. Therefore, it is common to hear, "You have something different, I can't explain it." It is this something that activates triggers in others. Whoever is ready, feels affinity. Those who are not yet, feel discomfort. It's not personal, it's energetic. And understanding this frees you from trying to please everyone. Awakened people carry a vibration that illuminates, but too much light can bother those who still have their eyes closed. And then strange situations happen, friendships that move away from nothing, family members who criticize your new way of being, people who try to diminish you for no reason. All of this is a reaction to your inner change. Therefore, it is essential not to try to turn off your light to fit into the darkness of others. You're not here to mold yourself, you're here to be a beacon. The more aligned with their spiritual mission the person is, the more this will happen. It is the universe testing your steadfastness, your commitment to the purpose of life. And to keep this spiritual vibration high, some practices help a lot: taking care of your diet, avoiding negative people, using crystals, doing energetic cleansings, and of course, maintaining a routine of silence and reconnection. The simple habit of saying a prayer before bed can completely change your frequency. Over time, the person realizes that they no longer need to prove who they are. His presence says it all. And she understands that it is not about quantity of connections, but about energy quality. The right encounters begin to happen. But until then, it's critical to protect your light. Because not everyone is ready to receive it. And that's where an important lesson comes in: not everyone deserves to have access to their energy. Not every hug is a cure, not every smile is sincere. Those who awaken spiritually learn this in practice. Energetic sensitivity makes you feel everything, and sometimes this becomes a trap. Because those who have light attract looks, yes, but it also attracts energy vampires. People who approach smiling, but leaving an inexplicable tiredness. Therefore, protecting your spiritual energy is an act of self-love. It's not selfishness, it's wisdom. The first protection is discernment. Not everyone deserves to know about your plans, your dreams, your pains. Sharing with those who do not vibrate at the same frequency can be like planting seeds in arid soil. A practical tip: notice how you feel after meeting certain people. If it comes out light, there is a change. If you come out exhausted, there is drainage there. Creating spiritual filters is not about pushing the world away, it's about selecting what comes into your field. There are also simple but powerful practices that act as shields. Energy baths with herbs such as rosemary, rue, or lavender, for example. Use crystals such as amethyst or black tourmaline. Meditate visualizing a golden light around you. Say prayers of protection when you wake up and before you go to sleep. These actions are not superstition, they are tools for maintaining your spiritual vibration. And yes, they make a difference in your daily life. Another important point is to understand your limits. Awakened souls tend to say yes to helping everyone, even when they're burned out. But spiritual mission does not require constant sacrifice. It asks for balance. Learning to say no with love is a way to say yes to your own energetic health. This is how to keep the light on without getting burned. Whoever truly loves you will understand. Who doesn't understand, it already shows that it shouldn't be so close. Over time, you realize that your peace is worth more than any presence. And then it begins to create a field around it where only what vibrates high remains. This does not mean living in isolation, but surrounded by authenticity. And when that happens, when your energy is clear and strong, you start to face life's challenges with a different attitude. Because trials come, and will come. But now, you're ready to use them as part of your empowerment. Every chosen soul will face trials, that's for sure. Not because the universe wants to punish it, but because it wants to strengthen it. Every pain, every loss, every obstacle comes with a hidden purpose: to polish. It's like gold, it needs to be exposed to fire to shine. In spiritual awakening, challenges are not random, they are invitations to access a new version of yourself. They force you to leave your comfort zone and dive into self-knowledge. And then, the soul grows. It can be a financial crisis, a disappointment in love, a delicate health moment. At the time, it seems that the world is collapsing. But those who observe with the eyes of spirituality realize that there is a lesson here. It is these spiritual trials that reveal hidden strengths. How many times, after a fall, have you felt stronger, clearer, more centered? The universe doesn't break you, it shapes you. As if to say, you're being prepared for something bigger. The awakened ones go through more intense challenges because they have a deeper spiritual mission. And to fulfill it, they need to be aligned, centered, and aware. The pressure cuts the diamond, remember? The same logic applies to the soul. So, instead of asking, why me, start asking, what do I need to learn from this? This simple gaze adjustment changes everything. And suddenly, even the pain makes sense. Because all the pain that comes with purpose turns. A powerful practice in these moments is to write. Empty your heart on paper, without censorship. This helps to organize the mind and pick up on the signs of the universe that often appear in the details. Another tool, silence. The soul speaks softly, and it is only in silence that we listen. It is in these periods of recollection that the spiritual energy reorganizes itself and reveals the next step. Even if you don't have all the answers, you feel like you're on the right track. And then, when you least expect it, the dates begin. New people emerge, unexpected opportunities appear, and everything seems to fall into place. But this only happens after the ordeal. The soul needs to be ready to receive. And when something very special happens, your tribe begins to find you. After the storm, something changes. The soul, stronger and more lucid, begins to emit a new frequency. And that's where the magic happens, the universe responds. People who vibrate in the same tune begin to emerge, almost as if by magic. They are those connections that do not require effort, that seem to have crossed lives to reach you. This is the spiritual tribe, souls that recognize you without explanation. When you meet one of these people, you feel peace. And this peace is a sign that the spiritual path is working. These encounters are not coincidence, they are synchronicity. The universe acts like a spiritual GPS, crossing trajectories when the vibration is right. Sometimes, it's in a cafe, in a course, in an online conversation. But the most curious thing is that it always comes at the exact time, when you are ready to receive. This tribe is not made of numbers, but of quality. They are few, but profound. People who understand your pauses, your silences, your energetic sensitivity without judgment. With these connections, something powerful is born, belonging. That old feeling of, I don't fit in, starts to fade. For the first time, you feel like you don't need to explain yourself, that you can be who you are, with all your lights and shadows. And this welcome is transformative. Because it validates your spiritual mission and strengthens your life purpose. Together, you grow faster, learn from each other, and become mirrors and compasses. A true alliance of souls. But for these meetings to happen, it takes courage. Courage to show yourself, to get out of the cave, to say yes to the new. There's no point in waiting for the tribe to find you if you're still hiding for fear of being rejected. Your spiritual energy needs to be in motion. Whether participating in events, seeking knowledge, sharing their experiences. When you position yourself authentically, the tribe feels it and approaches it. The vibration does not lie. And once that connection happens, it shows you something even deeper: you've never been alone. All along, the universe has been guiding. And every synchronicity, every encounter, every little miracle, they were messages. It was him saying, keep going, you're on the way. And when you understand that, something changes inside. And then, the signs begin to intensify even more. There are days when everything seems silent, but believe me, the universe is never silent. He speaks to those who learn to listen with the soul. A song that plays right at the right time, a book that arrives as an answer, a stranger that tells you exactly what you needed to hear. None of this is by chance. It's the signs from the universe saying, you're not alone. When energetic sensitivity awakens, these signals become constant. Small daily miracles, for those who know how to see with the heart. Many try to ignore, rationalize, think it's a coincidence. But there comes a time when the synchronicities are so many that you can't deny it anymore. Seeing the same word repeated over and over again, finding numbers like 111, 333, 777 in random places. All of this has meaning. They are codes of spiritual communication. Each number, a frequency. Each repetition, a reinforcement. Chosen souls develop this ability to read the unseen naturally, because they are in connection with their spiritual path. And it is curious how, in these moments, intuition is strengthened even more. It is as if a silent trust takes over the being. Even without knowing all the hows and whys, the person feels that he is right. It is a knowledge that comes from within, that calms, that guides. This feeling of inner guidance is one of the greatest blessings of spiritual awakening. And the more you listen, the more he talks. Because the universe respects those who respect the signals they receive. Whether it's through dreams, physical sensations, unlikely encounters, or messages that appear out of nowhere, everything has a purpose. Even the challenges. Especially the challenges. They come loaded with wisdom and direction. Spiritual trials are often the most direct way to get you to change direction. And those who learn to see purpose even in pain, transform any chaos into growth. Life is no longer a burden, and becomes a journey. And this journey, as intense as it is never lonely. There are invisible forces guiding you. The universe conspires, protects, and responds. And when you trust this flow, you begin to live more lightly. The spiritual mission is clearly drawn, the purpose of life is revealed with beauty. And everything that seemed disconnected, it finally makes sense. Now that you notice the signs, you're ready to see where all of this can take you. Now that you know these brands, you can no longer pretend you didn't see them. From today on, every synchronicity, every intuition, every strange sensation. It's going to sound different. It will sound like confirmation. And the question that remains is, what are you going to do with all this? Will you go back to your routine as if nothing had happened, or will you start honoring the mission your soul chose? You're here for a reason. And if you made it to the end of this video, it's no coincidence. How many times will the universe still need to show you that it's time to really wake up? How about starting right now to apply this knowledge in your life? Create a ritual, protect your energy, listen more to your intuition. A small action today can be the gateway to a big transformation tomorrow. I want to know, which of these brands touched your heart the most? Which one do you feel you have always carried? Comment below. Your answer may inspire other awakened souls who are also on this journey. And of course, if this content made sense to you, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and stay nearby. Here, we speak the language of those who feel it. Of those who seek. Whose choice it was.